Hey, welcome back. Or if you're new here, good to have you. I'm Agent Monahan, and this is the channel where we take on the topics that everyone talks about but never explains. History, science, economics, politics, how things actually work. If that sounds like your kind of channel, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss it. Now, let's get into it. As you all know, we are hosting one of the biggest sports events that is out there, the World Cup. But not many people seem to realize that this World Cup also is the first real-world trial for a new form of a sports event that may resolve its infamous economic problems. In 2022, Qatar hosted the World Cup, and depending on which figure you trust, they spent around $229 billion to do it. That is more than every modern Summer Olympics combined. Beijing, London, Rio, Tokyo, all of them, doubled, and you still don't reach Qatar. It was the most expensive sporting event in human history, which, if you've ever paid for a stadium hot dog, will at least make the $18 price tag feel like a rounding error. And here is the bit that should stop you cold. Hosting the World Cup almost every time loses the host country money. So the question tonight is simple. If it loses money, why do they fight so hard to host it? Let's start with where the money actually goes. Hosting the World Cup isn't a party. It's a small country's worth of infrastructure, 8 to 12 stadiums, often built from scratch, plus roads, hotels, airports, public transit, security, the works. Qatar built a metro system. They basically built an entire new city, Lusail, just for the final. Here's the obvious problem. Once the tournament ends, you still own all of it. Brazil 2014 spent about $15 billion hosting. The stadium in their capital, Brasilia, cost $900 million. It is now, and I want you to picture this clearly, a parking lot for city buses. $900 million for a bus depot, with cup holders. And it's not the only one. The Arena da Amazônia, in the middle of the rainforest in Manaus, has 42,000 seats and no First Division club to fill them. Economists call these white elephants enormous, expensive things that cost more to maintain than they ever bring in. Brazilian auditors estimated corruption added another 30 to 40% on top of construction. Now here's the bit that surprises people most. The host pays for everything, the stadiums, the roads, the metros, but the World Cup itself, broadcasting rights, sponsorships, tickets, all of that goes to FIFA. FIFA is the Swiss organization that owns the tournament. Their cash reserves were $1.5 billion in 2014. By 2022, nearly $4 billion. FIFA brings the trophy. The host country brings the wallet. Which brings us to the obvious question. If hosting loses money, why do countries line up to do it? The official pitch always sounds the same. Tourism will boom, jobs will be created, the country will modernize. South Africa in 2010 was promised $6 billion in extra GDP and roughly 130,000 new jobs. The actual figure researchers calculated afterwards was about 0.2% of GDP, which is, statistically, a rounding error. The economics may not add up, but everyone will agree that it comes with a real product. Prestige. For 1 month, roughly half the planet is watching your country. 5 billion viewers. Every match, every aerial shot of your skyline. Diplomats call this soft power, shaping what the world thinks of you without firing a single bullet. Qatar wasn't really buying a tournament. Qatar was buying a month-long global advertisement for a country most viewers couldn't have placed on a map. Russia in 2018 was selling the same thing. So was Brazil. So was South Africa. It is the most expensive billboard in human history, and the rental period is exactly 30 days. There's a domestic side, too. Leaders love hosting because it's a guaranteed national moment that, if it goes well, makes them look like a statesman. If it goes badly, like Brazil losing 7-1 to Germany in their own semi-final, well, that's a different episode. To address the economic issues, The 2026 World Cup, happening as we speak, is hosted under a new model that is more cost-efficient. First and foremost, it tries to divide the cost by spreading it. Unlike the previous events, it has 3 different hosting countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and is held in 16 different cities. As well as the division of cost and labor, it also attempted to improve its profit model by increasing the number of participating teams to 48. FIFA expects more income to be brought in from the 16 additional countries. The efficiency improvement did not just come from the number of participants. FIFA also decided to fix its long embedded white elephant problem. For this World Cup, the hosts built not a single new stadium. They are using existing NFL stadiums, plus Estadio Azteca in Mexico and BMO Field in Toronto. MetLife, SoFi, AT&T, venues already booked solid before the tournament arrived. There will be no empty stadiums in 2027, no bus parking lots. FIFA's operations budget for 2026 is around $3.7 billion, less than Qatar spent on the metro alone. The World Cup isn't an investment, it's an advertisement. Hosts aren't buying a profit, they're buying a month of global attention. And the price tag is whatever the prestige is worth to the people in charge, which historically has been a lot. What 2026 is quietly testing is whether you can host the party without buying the whole house. And if it works, if you can borrow a country's existing stadiums instead of paving over a rainforest to build new ones, it might be the future. Because for the first time in a long time, the host country might actually break even. That's all for today. Hope that actually made sense of it. If you found it useful, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you catch the next one. Agent Monahan will see you soon. And